Right. There we go. Welcome everyone to Ask Bucky Unfiltered. My name is Janan. I am one of the special project interns at Campus and Visitor Relations, or CAVR. This week I'm excited to have a member from International Student Services along with one of our CAVR tour guides who is also an international student. So I'll have them go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Samantha McCabe and I currently serve as the Interim Assistant Dean and Director at International Student Services, and I'm really happy to join our Campus and Visitor Relations team today for Ask Bucky Unfiltered. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. My name is Chelsea, and I am one of the tour guides at CAVR, and I'm a rising junior studying biochemistry and Spanish with a certificate in computer science, and I'm origin from Beijing, China.
Awesome. So to get us started today, do you just want to share what International Student Services is, or ISS for short, and what are the services that you offer?
Absolutely. So here at International Student Services, we're a staff of about 14 currently, and we are here to serve all of our international students who come to UW-Madison on an F1 or a J1 student visa. So we offer a lot of immigration advising. We monitor the federal regulations to educate and empower our F1 and J1 international students to make educated decisions to maintain their visa status while they're here in the US. This is a big part of our job these days with all of the announcements coming out from the federal government. We also offer different opportunities for engagement with peers, with international student peers, as well as domestic student peers, ways to get involved in the community through community service and sharing your experiences as international students with our greater Madison and UW-Madison campus communities through a program called International Reach. We also offer many opportunities that focus on student transitions into UW-Madison and into the US, if this is your first time, as well as transitions out from the university and the US as you complete your academic program with us. We also offer some co-curricular education opportunities. This includes teaching a section of a first-year seminar course specifically for international students, as well as the multiple international student orientation opportunities that we offer, and we continue to review and revise and update that information to make it more relevant to every incoming class of international students that we welcome on our campus, or perhaps this semester virtually to our campus every semester.
Awesome. Chelsea, did you want to share a little bit about what have been some of the resources that you've used from International Student Services?
Definitely. There's a lot of really good programs, I think, that ISS offer, and a lot of really awesome resources. For example, I was a part of the Bridge Peer Mentor Program. So this is a program where they, like as an international student, you can be a peer mentor, and you are paired with 5 to 6 different mentees from all around the world. Those are incoming international student, and we just help them transition to a college, like a U.S. college experience. And through that program, I made a lot of good friends. I made a lot of fun memories. And we went to all the activities together. For example, we had a potluck last semester, and then we had international ice skating. That was absolutely one of my favorite activities ever. Yeah, so it just made a lot of fun memories and made a lot of friends from all around the world. So yeah, definitely, I'm really happy to have this opportunity to participate in that program.
Yeah, I know a lot of my international friends too have always bring up Bridge, and like they're looking forward to the events that is doing. So it's good to hear that you've had a lot of experience with that. Um, Awesome. So I know, Samantha, you started kind of talking about this a little bit earlier with kind of changes going on, but what is ISS doing right now with the COVID-19 pandemic going on? Like, how are services being offered, and are there any projects that you're looking forward to in this virtual environment?
That's a wonderful question. And I think, COVID-19 definitely brought a giant wave of changes for ISS. The biggest change, I think, was our very quick transition to move 100% online, virtual. What does that look like? Especially for an office where we really feed off of the in-person one-to-one interactions with our international students. So I think personally and professionally, this transition to our new virtual environment was a little bit challenging and a little bit saddening, that we don't have that same kind of connection with our students. But we really have looked at what we call the silver lining, and what good can come out of this. And so one of the things that we were really fortunate to have in place already, and we continue to work on, is our software system called Teradata. This really has allowed us to communicate more directly with our international students, to provide documents and information and supporting information for all of our students from the point of admission through the point of alumnihood with UW-Madison, to be able to bring the immigration status of the student in a more transparent and interactive way, rather than a very transactional, you hand something in and then where does it go? It kind of stays behind the scenes. So we're really excited for all of the work that we've done with Teradata and that we will continue to do. One of the things that we are looking to do, and this was not necessarily COVID related, something we had planned before, but I think COVID has definitely made this a little bit more of an obvious need for our office, is we are bringing on peer advisors. So very similar. I think Chelsea will talk a little bit later about how she was a peer international student orientation assistant with us in the past. We've taken that same kind of idea to hire student peer advisors to be matched with our international student advisors one-to-one to assist with our new caseload advising model. This is something that we haven't had in the past, and we are extremely excited to build those more personal relationships with our students based on their school, college, or major, as well as our campus partners. This is a way that we've identified where we're really lacking that in-person, one-to-one relationship building. And so we're looking forward to this new model to get a little bit of that back in our advising world. We are also excited to continue teaching a section of CP 125, a Wisconsin Experience. This is a first-year seminar course that my colleague Morgan will be teaching this fall. So we're extremely excited to continue to offer that course for our first-year undergraduate students. And also, we are continuing to work with our International Student Advisory Board. This was formed in the spring semester during COVID, and we have a wonderful board of international student volunteers representing the different schools, colleges. The diversity of our International Student Advisory Board is incredible. And the information, feedback, and advice that they've already provided to ISS, so we can better inform the services and the way we interact with students, has been invaluable. So we really look forward to continuing to work with our International Student Advisory Board, as well as our affiliated student organizations. So we have almost 20 affiliated student organizations currently with ISS, and they really help also to bring insight and perspective from the international student experience more on the ground or right now behind the screen, to better inform how international student services can engage with our student population as well as the greater campus community. And so we hope to be able to continue a regular series called Global Cafe that is actually all designed and executed and run by our affiliated student orgs, to focus on a specific country or region every other week. And so we're really hoping to be able to continue that in a virtual format. And we also have another regular program that we started last fall semester called Peace, which is practicing English and cultural exchange. So we really hope to be able to continue that program in a virtual format, bringing in more campus partners, different student leaders to help co-facilitate those conversations, and bringing in more of a perspective on social justice, racial justice, and bringing in a lot more of the current events that are happening in the US so that we can have those conversations in a safe environment for our international students, scholars, and their family members who may accompany them to the US. So as hard as it's been for everyone, not just ISS, but for everyone to move virtually and to really shift all of our services online, we are really looking at those positive things that we can maintain into the future that just really enhance the interaction that we can have with our students, and how we can better engage with them and empower them to continue their wonderful academic pursuits, career pursuits, and just personal development while they are a global badger with us.
That's awesome. I know you mentioned the Global Cafe. Yeah, I saw a lot of that. I lived in the international learning community for a little bit, so yeah, I know that they really enjoyed going to those events and learning about the different countries that were being featured. Kind of jumping back to when you were mentioning the student advisory stuff. I know, Chelsea, you had mentioned before that you worked a position like that last summer. Do you want to tell us more about what that was like and what your job was there?
Yeah, so definitely, I worked as a orientation assistant for ISS. That's toward the end of summer last year, where I just welcome new international student on campus. And one of our main jobs is to kind of verify their immigration document to make sure that they have all the I-20, all their passport, visa stamps already, and then verify that with the ISS staff. And then also one component of that orientation is also to have them set up like a meeting with their advisors. So the international student will come in and then meet one-on-one with one of the staff from ISS to go over the resources that we offer here at Madison, and then we provide them with the study maps, so help them to kind of navigate around campus, all that good stuff. Yeah, and then also really enjoy that job because I got to really interact with new incoming international students. For example, we actually had a scavenger hunt where where we kind of all form different groups, and then we're trying to help our team win. So it was a really fun time to be able to welcome the international student on campus and make them feel welcome and help them transition to college life here.
That's awesome. I know that we've been talking about the different visa processes and things like that, and certain things in the news. I guess, did we want to touch on, how is UW-Madison handling all the changes that has brought for students, and what can international students, both admitted and prospective, expect from your office?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, and definitely one that we continue to address as things change. The guidance we receive from the federal government changes very quickly and without much notice. So, one thing that we ISS does not work alone. As we receive this additional guidance from the federal government, as they release this information, we quickly convene with our campus partners and campus leadership so that we are elevating the concerns that this brings to our international students, and how it impacts what our campus is trying to do as well. We're trying to create inclusive learning environments for all of our students in a very safe way. We often forget in our immigration bubbles sometimes that we're in the middle of a global pandemic. And so that is one piece that we always make sure that we're collaborating with our campus partners and campus leadership so that we are not excluding one group or one major. Every department on a campus like ours has so many various requirements and things to really achieve that academic integrity, research integrity, and we do not want anything to get in the way of our students advancing their own academic and career perspectives. So that's one thing that, we're not operating alone in this. And so that is why sometimes it takes us a little bit. We do need to read through everything, digest it, and come up with how are we going to interpret this at UW-Madison to then message out to students. So you can expect to receive many more emails from ISS. We have sent many over the summer and we are not done yet. So those will keep coming. So please keep an eye on your Teradata portal and on your student email account. For new students, you may still be getting emails to the personal email account you used when you applied, but please do, all of those communications are saved in your Teradata portal for you to revisit. So we definitely will be sending more email communications, and you can probably expect one next week as we anticipate some updated federal guidance that may help to clarify some of the information that we sent to you as we celebrated the federal government rescinding their earlier July 6th broadcast message to us. That was a very welcome celebration. We really were able to breathe a sigh of relief, and we hope that our students were as well. And we know that it created many more questions. It did for us, and it certainly has for our students and for our campus partners. So one thing that I do want to say, to our continuing students, I think that the celebratory news from this week is a bit clearer for those who are continuing their education with us at UW-Madison on their current I-20. And so, and this applies to you if you are inside the US or outside the US. And so what the current guidance we have tells us is that you can continue to maintain your current F1 status. It doesn't matter where you are located geographically, as long as you enroll full time and you continue to make satisfactory academic progress, we can keep that immigration record active for you. And so that also means that you retain many of the benefits that come with that F1 status. So that is really great news. And we are super excited about that, because that is certainly not what the July 6th memo said. For new students, unfortunately, it is a little less clear at this time. And this is that new guidance that we're anticipating to come out next week might provide a little bit more information specifically for our new students. So the way we read this at this time is for our new students with an initial SEVIS record who are outside of the US, you would need some in-person credits. However, that's not defined. What is unclear is it one class in person, or is it, for undergraduate students, 9 credits in person and the rest online, which is the normal. If we were operating under normal circumstances, those would be the regulations. That information really, really is not clear at this time. And what is adding a little bit to that confusion, and why we are saying, you would need to have some sort of in-person enrollment is because the guidance that we are currently operating under states that students in initial status who are outside of the U.S. should remain outside of the U.S. This is going back to when we shifted our mode of instruction in the middle of spring semester. That was a very quick decision that was made, and that is where this guidance is coming from. So it doesn't really specifically address a pre-planned hybrid mode of instruction for fall, as UW-Madison has announced. So that's where that confusion is coming from. And again, we hope to get a little bit more guidance coming next week, is what we're hearing from some of our professional associations. I do also want to address two other things that have kind of come out of COVID that our new students and continuing students alike continue to ask questions and clarity on, and that one is U.S. consulates started announcing this week that they will start their reopening plans. This is an individual consulate decision. It's not every consulate in every location, and so it's really important to go to your local U.S. embassy or consulate website so that you are aware of what those reopening operations will look like. We've heard some rumors that F1 students and J1 students will, be, I don't know if using the term prioritized is the right term, because obviously our medical professionals are still our priority, visa applications, but F1 and J1 students with those very quickly approaching start dates for the fall semester are kind of being advanced in the application pipeline. Also, travel restrictions continue to change very frequently, not just U.S. travel restrictions from travelers from other countries, but your own home country or the country that you are currently residing in may also have travel restrictions on your travel to the U.S. And so this is just a plug to continue to review those global travel advisories, contact your local U.S. consulate or embassy, and definitely check with the airline before you confirm any of your travel plans for fall semester. And of course, ISS, we are here to advise and to assist you as best we can as we try to keep up with this always changing information. And our website, our COVID FAQ page is the place to go for the up-to-date information. And as we get your questions in, we search for the answers, and then we add more and more of those FAQs to that page.
Thank you for sharing all that information. I know that it's helpful to know that it seems like ISS is really on top of it, and you all are being pretty transparent about what you know and the information that's out there. One final question before we wrap up, and I kind of wanted to throw this to Chelsea first, but what advice would you give to prospective or even admitted international students about coming to UW? That could be anything in general, or maybe something that you tried that you really enjoyed and wanted others to look at.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the question, Janan. I think that's a really good question. And so I know, especially with the situation right now, a lot of things are still kind of up in the air, and there might be some, worrying and kind of concerns about what the fall semester might look like. So I think my best advice right now would just be don't panic. I think still just knowing that here's so many resources that ISS here to support you, and then just helping you to make the most of your American college experience. And so I definitely would take advantage of all the resources that we offer here, and just kind of enjoy being a student here, whether it be kind of remotely, as might happen this semester, or if you are on campus, and definitely still make the most of your experience and just enjoy being a student here at UW-Madison.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, for, Chelsea and Samantha, for joining me on the Ask Bucky Unfiltered webcast today. I really enjoyed learning new stuff that I hadn't been aware of, and hopefully some international students can learn some new things too from this webcast. So, yep, thank you all again, and these webcasts are posted every Sunday. All right, have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having me.
Janelle.
Yeah.